All right. Please proceed.
Lydia Bryan Valdez, Mayor Pro Tem.
Candace Blake. Neil Hudgens.
Tony Valdez.
Cynthia McCall.
Harvey Davis with our attorney judge. And Don on Zoom. Let's have the pleasure. Pledge allegiance to the flag
To the flag of the United States of America. To the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
item is public comments. Unlike last meeting, I am gonna strictly adhere to the 3-minute limitation. Yes, ma'am.
However, someone can get their time correct if they need additional time.
If they ask me real nicely, I'll do.
Oh, if anyone would like to give time to someone else?
What? So the first person is Miss Betty, Alona Betty.
I'm gonna hand these out. It's actually handouts for Alana, myself, and Darlene. Okay? Uh-huh.
Okay, so I've started the 3 minutes.
Good morning or good evening. My name is Alana Beatty and I'm a neighbor in Chaparral Park. I'm speaking to you today to encourage you to take no action or to write a letter to the city of Austin stating you do oppose Milestone's request for city services. It is important that you all understand that if granted, this will allow Milestone to go forward with the highest density plan for the Hayes Commons subdivision. The subdivision will include 700 homes housing approximately 2,450 people on 250 acres. The subdivision that they're looking to create will be larger than over 1,000 Texas cities and towns in the state of Texas, including the city of Hayes. The Hayes ETJ was created almost 50 years ago in an effort to prevent something exactly like this from happening to us. The suburban sprawl of Austin has literally reached our doorstep, and while Senate Bill 2038 took away some of the ability to protect ourselves from that sprawl, we can still stand up together as neighbors to push back and prevent the city of Austin from being our literal next door neighbor. With the high density plan that Milestone is proposing, not only will we have to contend with the large influx of people literally in our backyards, we will have to contend with what they bring as well. In addition to the dangers this poses to the quality and quantity of our municipal water supply, they will also bring with them noise and light pollution, which will disturb the natural ecosystems, even those that remain intact around us. My next point is on the second slide. And it goes back to the lack of integrity and honesty that Milestone has exhibited in all of its endeavors trying to get this subdivision off the ground. When they went before the Parks and Recreation Department to exhibit their parkland and conservation areas, they revealed how little concern they hold for the environment around us. The natural world that provides priceless ecosystem services that support our ability to survive here. In the maps, you can see in the green the conservation areas that they've set aside. Areas 1 through 5 are not developable because of their current use and topography. Area 6 is a small sliver of land between 2 roads and is the poster child of habitat fragmentation. And while Area 7, closest to the city of Hayes, is the largest tract of conservation land, it is undevelopable because of the many karst and surface water features that it holds. Despite that, if you look at the yellow line through tract 7, you are seeing what will become a 12-foot wide concrete pathway through this environmentally sensitive land. All of the land that they've set aside for nature will not be natural at all. Retention ponds are not natural. A kid's playground is not a natural part of the ecosystem. On tract 7, sending pedestrian, bicycle, motorized bikes, and scooter traffic into conservation land is not preserving the natural ecosystem. Truthfully, it's a disruption of the natural ecosystem. On the last slide, the high density plan that Milestone is seeking permission for through the city of Austin. It will be located both north and south of Bliss Filler. Those of us in Chaparral Park and Southwest Territories will also have to contend with a large portion. I have 3 more sentences, if I may.
Be quick, thank you.
There will be a large, those of us in Chaparral Park and Southwest Territories will also have to contend with a large portion of this community on our daily basis as we try to leave and enter our neighborhood through our one egress Bliss Filler Road. The amount of traffic will only, the increased amount of traffic will not only be a burden that we contend with, but it will affect the city of Hayes, and Carol will speak more to that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So this is Carol Pennington. Welcome. Now I'm going to start.
Okay. First, I would like to bring your attention to this picture. I wanted to let y'all know that we have formed a group, and we are the 60th member group of GEA, the Greater Edwards Aquifer Alliance, and we have a name that's called Hayes Residents for Land and Water Protection, and we have a beautiful logo that Mike made for us. And this is what we're using when we make presentations. I want to talk on this next slide about the safety. It's traffic, but it's safety. That's the biggest issue. Down on this map in the lower right corner, there's a red circle, and that's the intersection of Bliss Filler and the 45 toll road that currently exists. And we can enter the 45 toll road headed west to Austin, and you can exit the toll road coming east to Bliss Filler. We have no entrance to head east towards Buda on the toll road, nor is there an exit from 1626 headed west and exit at Bliss Filler. So the only way for us to get to 1626 is to go out all the way Bliss Filler to 1626 by Marbridge and then turn right to come over here. The next page talks about the lower portion. That's going to affect the city of Hayes more. Come down off of the toll road, and you want to go to Buda. There's a curve. Well, there's an exit. You'll see a green arrow before you get to 1626. That is an exit that Milestone is proposing to go out of their neighborhood and come into their neighborhood from 45. You know that traffic on 45 goes very fast. So that's a huge safety concern. Then when you get to 1626, there's a light there if you want to go to the left and head towards Brody Lane or Manchac Street. But if you want to go right towards Buda, there's 2 lanes that curve. It's a curve, there's no light there. Those 2 lanes, first, one lane has to merge into the other one. And then right before you get to McKinnon Loop, I'm sure all you know about this, there's another merge lane that has to merge over. Well, right at Lakewood Drive across 1626, Milestone is proposing a light and another exit, entrance and exit, before you even get to McKinnon Loop.
Sorry, but you're 3 minutes of
Okay, those lights are way too close, and it's a huge, huge safety issue.
Thank you
So
very much.
please comment about this to the city of Austin. Thank you.
Thank you. And the next person is Darlene Starr.
Give me just 1 second, because I'm gonna get my timer.
Trust me, Harvey is gonna keep me on target. Okay.
Thank you.
Keep me talking at the right rate of speed.
So tell me when you're ready.
I will. I mean, because I'm gonna run out of time if I don't. Oh, hell. Can't do it fast. Hey, Christian, again, how did you see? I guess I'm gonna start now because I didn't really get my timer going. Oh, thanks, she's got my timer going. Last week I spoke to you about the potential for sprawl from this development, and I wanted to just touch base on a couple of those notes really quick, but I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on what I already said. We can look at any study and we can look at any tax roll that will show us that when high density development comes into an area where high density development is not historically been, it's going to change the market. It's going to increase property costs. It's going to increase property taxes. What's being proposed here, as you heard, 700 homes plus commercial on teeny tiny little lots at a high price, I might add, which I mentioned to you last week, is going to disrupt this area where none of us are on less than an acre. Most of us are on more. And that, I believe, opens us up to the danger of gentrification and losing the ability to afford to continue to live where we live. And that is a big concern. I do believe that this is an opportunity to open Pandora's box, and we should not be the ones to open that box for them. Austin wants to hold Hayes the scapegoat and say that they're approving an SDR because you guys said that you wanted it. Because you said that you supported it. There's already been Jeff Howard at Austin meetings saying the community is asking for this. No, let me say loudly, we are not asking for this. And so basically you're being asked to knock down the first domino toward destroying an ecologically special area and an important watershed in the interest of greed. And I ask you not to do that. This area has been preserved by denial of the very water lines that are currently being discussed. And as I mentioned before, election coming up, and that has consequences. So I would definitely ask that you don't do anything before that. On the second page, so you have this sprawl map, which is kind of a little different than what I showed you last week. I showed you the potential for sprawl properties that it's in your packet, Lydia. The potential for properties that are in the Hayes ETJ. Okay, I'm just trying to speed up so I don't lose my time. The potential for sprawl, what is marked only in bold with the black letters equals 372 acres. That is obviously not everything that is on this map, but you can clearly see there's hundreds more acres. And to just back up on your second slide, roads to nowhere. If you think that the game being played is not to get more land and not to sprawl, you need to look at this slide, which shows 2 roads on the milestone plan. One going directly to the 157 Willie Farm and ending at the farm, which we know they have previously tried to buy. And the second one is a 12-foot paved trail, which I'm air quoting, to the Stinson property. Y'all are all familiar with Mr. Stinson. And this is a property that they've also tried to buy in the past, and 12 feet is exactly how wide the street is.
Thank you very much. Mike Clifford.
Okay, a handout, a different handout. I'll get that. Thank you. Whoops. I'll take that. You should.
Thank you.
And then we can talk. Yeah, thank you. And then we got one for 22.
That's my down.
Okay.
We need one.
Here, we can share. We share.
Yeah, this is all I can. I need one to so I remember what I'm saying.
Thank you.
So Keith has volunteered to donate 3 of his minutes, so I should get 6 minutes, if that's okay. And I just wanted to bring everyone up to speed. We've been okay. Did somebody?
Yes, I approve. And
Okay.
you're 6 minutes to start.
Okay, so I wanted to bring everyone up to speed. We've been working with the city of Austin through this process. So I'm going to talk a lot about impervious cover because that's what's in front of the city of Austin right now. And that's our biggest objection to this right now is that this is an environmentally sensitive area that would normally be covered by the SOS ordinance, which specifies 15% impervious cover. Milestone is trying to get 25% variance. And so really the environmental issues are all related to that density. 850 total living unit equivalents. So that's 700 single family houses on 1/8 to 1/5 acre lots, plus another 150 in commercial, equates to 2,902 people, a new city over the recharge zone. It's wildly inconsistent with the development that's already out there, 2.5 acre lots. And every time you increase impervious cover by 1%, you get 3.3% increase in flooding in terms of the total discharge of flood. So that's why we're so against this variance, okay? We're not against developing this property. We just want to develop the proper way. And the biggest protection the city of Hayes has to your water supply is that 15% impervious cover. So there's multiple dye tracer studies that have been done showing the flow path from Hayes Commons to area wells into Barton Springs, indicating the water quality risk. I'll talk about that. And there's multiple karst features in Little Bear Creek itself. Next slide shows just the comparison of the density of what Milestone's trying to put in there. 467,500 gallons a day of water they've asked for from the city of Austin. If you had gone into for septic, you'd be looking at a fraction of that. But of course, they're not interested in septic. They're trying to put as many lots on this as possible, make as much money as possible. Next slide shows the groundwater flow path, and this is the big danger here. Is Hayes, city of Hayes is just south of Hayes Commons. It's close enough that even though it would not necessarily be in the direction of the flow path, you're going to get bleed over from all that impervious cover. So our big ask for you all is just to not do anything. It's the easiest thing in the world to do nothing approach. We just don't want. We have all this effort going on with the city of Austin, and so what we don't want would be a letter saying we're okay with this. So we're fine with this impervious cover variance, for example. So that's what we're asking for. Next slide, you look at these area wells. You see all of those city of Hayes wells just south of the proposed development. With so many people, to almost 3,000 people, and all the problems that come with all those people combined with 25% impervious cover, it's just a recipe for disaster for your water supply. Next slide. The plan or concepts of a plan that Milestone's put forward did not have any drainage, so we looked at the drainage, and basically the drainage is all off property. So you have it going everywhere. You have it going into the runoff going into Little Bear Creek, into Bear Creek proper, into these private areas, and into the city of Hayes as well. So that's really the concern when you increase this impervious cover to 25%. And here's the last slide I wanted to talk about second to last slide. There's really no reason to grant this impervious cover because Milestone has no other choice. What they've been doing with the city of Austin is threatening them. They've been standing up there in front of the Environmental Commission and the codes and ordinances, and they're going to go to Planning Commission on November 12th. And they're saying, if you don't give us our variance, we're going to do all sorts of bad things. We're going to put up a TLAP, or we're going to sell it to a commercial developer. Well, they can't do a TLAP. They already tried last year. It was voted down by the Hayes County Commissioners Court, 3-2. And that was a plat that was 15%.
Mr. Clifford?
Yes.
Your 3 minutes is up, and so you may take Whittington's.
Okay.
And Mr. Whittington, how are you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing better, doing well.
Okay,
Let me know when I'm starting again.
we're starting.
Okay. So what that Milestone has been doing is basically it's just been a cudgel. This TLAP, which they've already tried to do that, and they have Lon Shell and Walt Smith voting for them. Walt Smith is very well funded by Milestone. You might be aware that he's received a campaign donation from Milestone, and then he went ahead and voted for the TLAP. But there were 3 commissioners that didn't, including Judge Becerra, and that's probably going to be 4 as of November 5th when Rebecca Winnick comes in. She looks like she's going to win election. Then we'll have 4 pro-environmental commissioners. Milestone is not getting a TLAP on this property. And I know Bill Bunch has talked to you, Mayor Davies, about the contested case process. I think that's all a bluff. It only cost Milestone a couple $1,000s to file that permit application for the TLAP. But the fact is, the Hayes County Commissioners Court is the one that approves their plat. for the Hayes County portion anyway. And they're not going to approve a plat with a TLAP. So the city of Austin, what we're trying to educate them on this complex history that you all have been a part of, that they don't really have to approve it. They can just tell Milestone, but hey, this Hayes Commons looks good, but 15% is all you're going to get. And you know what will happen? Milestone will come back with another plat at 15%, because this is just a money grab part. If they go to 25% impervious cover, it almost doubles the revenue that they're going to get from this development. So we want them to stick to the 15%, and that's the SOS ordinance. That's been in place for decades now. So that's it. That's all I had to say. And then the last thing I was going to say is Milestone is also threatening the city of Austin that they're going to sell to a commercial developer who's going to do commercial development on this tract of land that has no connection to any major roads. And by the way, commercial is not doing so hot nowadays. So that's also a fake out by Milestone. So there are only two things: is we're going to do a TLAP if you don't give us what we want, or we're going to sell. Both of those are just bluffs, empty threats. That's all.
Thank you. Bobby Levinsky.
Thank you, Mayor.
Welcome.
Yep.
And your 3 minutes has started. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is Bobby Levinsky. I'm an attorney with Save Our Springs. Because of my history with City of Hayes, I want to emphasize that I'm not advising the City of Hayes on this. I am an attorney with Save Our Springs. We are opposed to this project, to the TLAP, the Hayes MUD, to the Austin MUD, to the SDR, and to the SOS amendment that Hayes Common has requested with the City of Austin. I really want to note that that SOS amendment has not been initiated by the City Council. They were not able to get a sponsor for that item, so it did not get sponsored. And it has not been initiated by the Planning Commission yet. That's still yet to be decided. We are hopeful that we can stop that before it's initiated. We are also supportive of a solution that would permanently protect this site, as we would any property within the recharge zone. The recharge zone is not an area for significant amounts of development. Science would support a 10% impervious cover limit. The 15% limit that's in the SOS ordinance is already a compromise. Milestone's wanting 25%, which is more than what they even had bought the property at. That's when they had impervious cover limits more stringent when they bought the property in 2017. They're asking for more from the City of Austin. We would really like you to not set a precedent for the development in this area by making any action that would indicate support for an SOS amendment. This water line, once it's extended to the area, will be a catalyst for the growth of the area. There are hundreds of acres of development around Milestone, in addition to its 500 acres. So they don't have the same environmental protections either. So we really need to hold the line here and not set a dangerous precedent for this area. Just to speak to the SOS ordinance, I know there's a lot of haze maybe around the non-degradation requirement for water treatment. That's only one of the components of the SOS ordinance. The impervious cover limit is also important for non-degradation because it ensures there's a lower amount of development of less disturbed land, in addition to accounting for failures of infrastructure, which happen a lot with water quality infrastructure. They have lifespans, and they're only as good as they're inspected and maintained. So there's already a risk that is associated with any amount of development on the site. So we're available for questions. As Mike noted, you got received a letter from Bill Bunch. One thing I really want to emphasize to you today is there is no urgency on this. We've seen a timeline with the City of Austin that would extend this into January of next year. There's plenty of time for City of Hayes to take the time to make sure that best suits your needs and works with the residents and protects the land from the significant development. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody in the council have any public comments? Okay, we'll take up item number 4A, which is discuss possibly take action regarding Hayes Common development application to the City of Austin to provide water, wastewater, and other services. And would like council to go into executive session so we can consult with our attorney. Yes, we've been recording. That way it doesn't we don't have two recordings. So we will, retire into the executive session room and be back. Thank you.
Yeah.
Don, I'll call you because I'd like you to be part of the executive session, okay?
Okay. Well, we'll be on Zoom.
Yes.
Hold on, thank you. Thank you. How are you? Thank you. Sorry about your feelings.
Yeah, you know, time, you know.
Yeah, like that's. I'm gonna put something in the morning.
Well, we make that just up there.
I don't actually, that. Severe. Chairs out there. Chairs out there.
You watch out of the back, so when you.
Yeah, so it's one last week.
And calm.
So yes, that's one option is to just watch what we've done. Actually. Bill started. And. Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah. So we actually. So the city boss here, so we don't. Still. No. Getting out of the field of chapters I was sitting in. Yeah. He's an engineer. Yeah. So we don't see anything. And you can start walking, but it did both parts. No, he went to the restaurant. Oh. Wait, that's the restaurant. Oh, okay.
So they'll say something.
Yeah. Yeah. And you don't have to stay, because it's no telling how long they'll be in there. It could be an hour. I mean, we've sat here, sat here a long time. And, waiting for them to make a decision or, we'll come back out of executive session.
Maybe I should, yeah. Next school stuff, so I can get some.
Exactly. Got papers to grade?
Easy. Pleasant plans to make.
Yep.
I'm running like one day,
I'm gonna introduce you first to Keith Whittington. She's Alana Baby. She lives on Bluebird at the other end by, at Carter.
Okay.
Close to that well that sprung a big old leak.
Oh.
And she also teaches, AP Environmental Science at Lee High School.
Okay.
And Keith lives on Carpenter Lane.
I think we met at the environmental commission too. Pretty much.
Oh, were you there?
Yeah.
I don't know. I called in.
Yeah.
I was in Arkansas.
That's right. That's right.
So
Okay.
June camp
That's right.
and then a couple people I didn't know and haven't seen since. One was an engineer out of the change lady. She said she just wanted to get involved and Bobby just talking. And I wasn't sure what to make of both at the end, the 3, 3 and 1 abstaining. And so, and Carol asked me to say, okay, go back and.
Yeah.
That's what Bobby said.
Wait, it does come up. And another.
It'll come back to them.
Back.
Yes, it comes back to the same commission.
But when it comes back, it's gonna come back with the mud, right?
Right.
That was my understanding.
Yes.
It's a lot to get, to attempt to get read into. We brought her up to speed pretty quickly. There's a lot of stuff going on there.
We've been at this.
About 3.5.
Oh, 3.5.
Well, three, pretty much three full force, because it was 3 years ago that we,
Made the, right.
November of 21, that was at that church up the hill, was the very first presentation. So, yeah, 3 years worth of information and changes and
Yeah.
application and all that.
Been ongoing for a while.
Yeah,
Thank you, they did. So many pieces.
there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle.
Like when you said it, I mean, you got a lot of. Hatred. Positive. So. All red.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all from I did a public information request, got all the documents. There's 31 documents related to that mud application, city of Austin. Yeah. Maps and files and all this stuff, it's been, yeah. Okay,
I'll be back.
all right.
That's all. Definitely. I have. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's not what's like. It's another mistake.
Too much lanes, you know.
I guess I'll be that. Have a single lane, something. Another lane. Another lane.
That involves the state though. That's a state,
Yeah, that's
it was a state highway. A 45, yeah. Well, and 626, both of them were state highways, so.
And think about it. How people be. I think. Patient. House. Could be. Traffic. A lot of traffic actually to leave your house. How. You had it so good for so long.
Yeah.
You could easily take that and
Yes,
stretch it.
the projected,
Moving in and out.
the projected population is 2,450 people, just for the housing part. They have more LUEs for the commercial, but yeah, and it's probably 3/4 of it's gonna be coming up on to the facility.
Yeah.
So, it's a lot of cars.
I guess some of. Backside.
Yeah, because that bottom part, it's not gonna, that exit at on 45 that they wanna add, you can't, it's a double lane. So you can't get across to head into Austin that way, so they're gonna have to go out to that other body too. And turn left and then turn left at that other light to get onto 45. So I don't know how many people are gonna do that. They have to go through 2 lights. Plus they have to cross traffic to get across. I don't know. Anyway, not my problem.
See, I don't know why they do this. Because no other entity does this. They go on the executive session to discuss it with their attorney. Meetings at the commissioner's court, like that you went to, they just discuss it in the open forum. And that's really what they're supposed to be doing. I don't,
Maybe you do that.
even the city of Austin City Council, I don't think you have to go into executive session for personnel matters and financial. But this isn't either one of those. I think it's violent. But I don't know. I tried to bring it up with a previous attorney, that lady. I even showed her the thing, but it's something that they got used to doing and they think that they should do that. And I don't think it's legal. So. I mean, I don't even know if the city attorney goes to the city council meetings. You know? The city of Austin.
Well, I'm sure they are.
I know they go into executive session on some things, but things like this, I don't.
I don't know if they. Yes, but they do have executive session.
Yeah, and it's usually noted on the agenda item, and it's, like I said, it's usually about personnel or finance or something.
Usually though, they come out, I mean, do they walk away and go? Or
That I have no idea. I don't know, sometimes they do. It's usually they don't go into executive session on an agenda item that has action. They all of us do this. But I don't know how to bring that,
Well,
forward.
maybe Jason is,
Unless,
he's advised.
yeah,
Yes, he's.
the only other thing would be for Bill Bunch as an attorney to say they're violating the Open Meetings Act, other than that. And usually he gets to do like he did with the city of Austin and sue them in court over. I don't want to bring that on CNAs, but I really think that's wrong. So anyway, we'll just have to do
Yeah,
it.
but. How's your. You had a lot of trip.
I did have-
So you got to see people and.
I did. So, talking about my summer vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right before I left, I came back and I got the MRI on my hip. And that's when I found out I had a torn cartilage. And when they did the MRI, they did it with contrast. And so they have to inject dye into it. So while they injected the dye, they also gave me a cortisone shot. And that lasted, I was gone on my vacation from the middle to the end of May until the end of August. So on the whole summer. Cortisone shot lasted to the middle of July. Then it started wearing off. So I took ibuprofen and Tylenol just twice a day regularly. I could go on some hikes. I didn't overdo it. The longest I did was a couple of 3 mile hikes. But they were flat and level and it wasn't any mountainous type thing. I did one mountain, I went to Mount Rainier, so I did do one, for the first time. It's just incredible. It was just coming up that road, seeing that mountain, it was like, oh my God, I didn't know you could get that close to it. It's like right there in your windshield. And so I took
Did you go to the mountain? I mean, not the mountain. You go flat, right? This is Spokane.
right.
And that's Seattle.
So I ended up going all the way around the mountain
Okay. Oh.
once.
Okay.
Okay, I stayed, my campground was in the southwest corner of the park. So like almost kitty corner from Spokane. And I went in, you have to pay, you have to have timed entry now. I don't know if you know that. You have to sign up for a certain time that you go through the entrance gates. Which was kind of weird. Excuse me. So I went, sometimes I went into the bottom entrance at, I think they call that, Paradise.
Yeah.
And then a couple of times I went into the northern entrance, which was, Sunrise. Actually, more times than I wanted to, because when I left, I could not go out the bottom entrance because there was a wildfire in the pass that I needed to go over because I went to Idaho.
Oh, right.
That's my next stop was Idaho. So I had to go all the way up and around and go out to the upper pass
Oh, okay.
to get to the highway that goes down Idaho Falls.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so I did both.
So you went to Idaho Falls after?
It-
Or did you go through Spokane or?
No, I went down to
Yeah,
Idaho Falls,
okay.
yeah, because then I was gonna go to West Yellowstone. Go to Yellowstone. And so I did not do any of the northeastern portion of Washington. There's a lot I need to come back for.
That's what that's what you always.
I would say, yeah.
Go back.
Never enough time.
Yeah.
My main purpose was I wanted to go to Olympic National Park and I wanted to go to Mount Rainier National Park. And that, that was my main objective for Washington and see it as much of the coast as I could. Anyhow, but I did when I was at Paradise, I did Sunrise. I did do just the higher elevation one. I did do a hike that went out and went a little bit up. It went to a lake that has in Glacier, they call it Iceberg Lake. Not what they call it in at Mount Rainier, it's something else, but it's frozen lake or something like that anyway. So I did do a hike and I went by, the side of the mountain and on my way, and that was about a 1.5 or 2 mile hike round trip. And that was the only elevation type one that I really did. I just couldn't. I mean, there was a couple of other little ones that had some, a little climbing, but it wasn't anything like some of those people do that live there. And you don't want to go on a weekend because all city folk come and, they do their day hikes, all the young people that aren't tired and they have to, they're out all day long. You can't find parking. They go on these, 10 or 15, 20 mile hikes and these big old packs and what have you. And they're taking up all these parking spaces. And so anyhow, it was,
So did you drive there like on a Saturday or rather a Monday or so and just kind of hang out for 3 or 4 days?
no, I was there for 10 days.
Oh.
Yeah, so I was there over one weekend. I was gonna look it up, but, I think it was 10 days. Let's see,
So do you just kind of hang out? I mean, you
I
just
did something every day.
You just backpack and you just.
Oh, I didn't.
Oh.
No. Some
Oh.
people do.
Okay.
Some people do. I just did day things.
Okay.
No, I went back to my camper every night.
Okay.
I have a travel trailer,
Okay.
24-foot travel trailer. So I stayed down at, it's on the,
So you're basically outside the park. And then
I
you
did
kind
stay outside the park. There are some campgrounds in the park, but they don't have hookups. They don't have water and electric. And, I just was not ready to do that.
Yeah.
And my trailer's a little bigger than some of them. It's a 24-foot trailer. And not only is it long, but it's, it's big, it's got a big body and, the campgrounds, they're old and they're made for smaller units and stuff.
Yeah.
But I stayed on a lake, is a dammed up river and it was really pretty. It was, Packwood, that was the fire, I think, Packwood Fire, I'm not sure, maybe not. Am I? That, yeah, that was Highway 12 that was closed.
Yeah.
I couldn't. Or Randall. River's that. That's the Cowards River, that's not it. And Ashford, Longmire, Elby, I stayed at the little town of Elby. And it's Alder Lake. And that's the river comes all the way from the mountain,
Yeah.
the Nisqually. The Nisqually River, it comes from a glacier, the Nisqually Glacier off of the mountain. It comes all the way down. It actually goes into the sound. I traced it. I do weird stuff like that at night. I traced it. It went over like at Olympia. It goes into the sound. So it was real nice. Real nice area. The park is, it's like a core park. Well, it's actually, I think, out of the part of the city of Tacoma. It runs that park. But, you know, if I was to go back again, I wouldn't go during the summer, but I met up with some people twice on the Oregon coast. I met up with them and we did all the Oregon coast. There were, at one time, there were 4 rigs. They all had big motorhomes. And then I went on to Washington and nobody was going that direction. So I was by myself, but a friend met me that moved back there. And then I went to Lanier and then Idaho. And then I met them in Yellowstone again. Yeah. So they had planned their trip and I just kind of worked mine around it.
Yeah.
And so we did that. It was a lot of fun going with friends and I don't mind doing stuff by myself.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of people around, a lot of people on those hikes. So I wasn't like, you know, I was alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Meet people along the way.
yeah,
Just.
if I would have had a problem, there would have been somebody that would come along and help me out. Anyway,
I had, actually, we have gone through Idaho Falls twice because my daughter had a car, and was in my Spokane car. And then I drove a car for my daughter. She was living in Spokane. Yeah. Actually, she was living in Holland, but she was going to school. So I ended up making her call. So
actually,
I got 2 cars, basically had 2 cars.
yeah.
At different times. Here because my daughter didn't move up. So again, about 7 years ago, and she got married. She decided she was going to move up there, Austin, and her family, her other family, is living in smaller place. I think it's maybe it's Erie or something like that.
Okay.
It's city it's outside Seattle. So he was working for a company, long-term contract for Boeing, and he made a living basically with that. He finally they moved down, my daughter, and got pregnant. they moved 2025, it was actually good, that's good for them to move, because they got, basically got everything right in terms of just timing.
Uh-huh.
So they,
Yeah,
so they could sell their house, buy a new house, and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. So, my daughter is, living, well, she's, she's, she keeps, she keeps, she, she has her in-laws.
oh,
That's, that live there.
oh, cool.
And so that helps her with, you know, keeping, keeping up tabs with the family.
Uh-huh.
And so if they're more or less retired. So they have a little bit more time. On keep up.
Uh-huh.
Is not keeping up too much, because I think they just do it. They think Thursday,
Uh-huh.
which they actually have Thursdays that are
Babysitting night.
babysitting day, you know.
Yeah, day and night, yeah,
So
they get a break.
my daughters had. It's schedule. Schedule Monday, Thursday.
Mhm.
So she can, Friday, so she has this
Oh.
weekend.
Uh-huh. Nice.
She's been able, since COVID started. They've been doing this now. It's 4 years now,
Uh-huh.
and they, she's been. Now. It's, her, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's just changed so much. What's so surprising is that.
Yeah, they
it's
grow
so
up
surprising,
fast, really fast.
So,
So what happened to the house that you were building up there?
still building it,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. In fact,
are you able to fly?
I do fly.
Uh-huh.
I haven't been since my, since. Traveling, I wasn't really expecting to travel. Well, I was expecting to travel in August, but of course I had my struggle.
Yeah.
I haven't been able since then.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
just.
yeah,
So
so
they're back.
had a bit back, seen it, so my construction is happening
Okay, it's still going on without you.
on without me. Thankfully. I have a general contract, obviously.
Okay, that's good.
Keep going. But I haven't seen them,
Yeah,
and I'm going next week.
okay,
So I have to see
uh-huh,
what
cool,
done,
yeah,
hopefully. Um, they're to get their job, their goal right now is to just, they're trying to get the roof on by January. No, by December. After December. I think the first week, of December. And hopefully it happened.
did they get so much snow there?
I mean, but I mean, it's.
Enough where you want to
it's
move on?
every day.
Okay. So that's the big goal, get the roof on before it starts snowing.
Exact, yeah, the exact thing is that you can get the house dried in
Yeah,
so that you can continue to work on it, but
Yeah.
because otherwise you're screwed. you
Yeah.
know, So, and
Exactly.
nobody, well, it gets so cold. That I think we're gonna be okay with December. But it'll have to be the first week or two of December. And maybe it could even be pushed a little bit because, but really it definitely gets super cold in or January. Especially January, late
Yeah.
January.
yeah, February is always,
March and,
right,
March, April.
yeah, March and April, yeah,
January. That's
yeah,
so really bad. And problem is, it could actually be March. And April.
Yeah.
Because they have long.
yeah,
It's really. They, last year, they don't open up the road. For big construction projects.
Yeah.
Because there's not there. You're trapping on the big. She's fine, but if you're in smaller terrain.
yeah,
Areas. uh, Won't let you move trucks on because there's too much movement. And so there's too much movement in the snow.
uh-huh,
They don't make it passable for big construction.
yeah,
projects.
gotcha.
So we're maybe let's slow down. January.
Mhm.
There'll be an answer.
Yeah.
To that, we might get slowed down just because we can't get material.
Right, I see.
So I'm expecting that I won't be finished with this house until, August.
Mhm.
Next
Yeah.
year.
Yeah,
Next year.
well,
It takes so long.
that's what happens when it's in an area that has that kind of weather. You just have to
Yeah,
look around the weather.
nothing like, Austin, where it's, 2 days out of the,
Yeah,
basically, January. Just like, this is a day or two, and then, start construction.
it has to be, the snow again that we had, or the ice storm that we had, or something
Yeah,
really bad to
stop,
stop it.
that's one of the. Look at here,
Yeah,
but it's construction and it's gonna go on for a while.
well, we saw you have your house, that other little house up for sale that you built.
House up for sale. This has been, an interesting, because I had my stroke, my family. I was freaked out,
Sure. Understandably.
so it's kind of caused some shifts and thinking. We'll see how it all out, but right now. This house. Because, I like to be more. And if we needed to make sure that, and maybe this is additional money, I suppose, but maybe just trying to make it easier, my wife and I can do some more financial planning
Not only the financial part, but also the maintenance part. I mean, you have to either rent it out or put it into an Airbnb or whatever. That's a lot of work too.
Yeah.
So, you know,
And, you know, as I've been, you know, when I'm retired, I'm staying home, maybe I would not be as busy as.
I had this all the same thing with your retirement.
Yeah, it's crazy.
yeah,
I've been more busy. I felt like that, well, not as much, but I mean, almost as much as.
yeah,
We're still meeting, unfortunately.
that's fine. Yeah, we know. Okay.
So it was like, you know, we, this thing about retirement was. He got so busy. You know, not, so not.
Yeah.
Certainly, yeah. Basically. Redoing everything. For simplicity.
Mhm.
So like. Knock out, you know,
Yeah,
if I die, you know. It'll be simpler and easier.
sure,
So.
sure. Yeah. Yes. Nobody saw it coming, so it does change your perspective.
It does, and,
And, you know,
you know, it was so striking. You know, and it's- I said something, I think that after. I think it was probably, probably got heat stroke.
oh,
And one thing that I also got after tonight, my anxiety was, if you have your finger, I have finger blood type,
oh, interesting.
and so it's one of the things that didn't really think much of it.
Mhm.
But now, well, it's, you know, I don't really feel like it's relaxing, kind of like being relaxed.
Mhm.
Didn't really feel like I was overtaxed,
Yeah,
but happened. So I was. Just. Acting.
yeah. Yeah, I bet the heat might have had something to do with it for sure.
The heat, I was today, or the day that I'm working, I worked Saturday and Sunday. He had a problem. You know, so. Taking words, but
Should we that all those trees?
I don't know. I got some other tree. I was clearing a lot, clearing property.
Oh, okay,
Doing a lot of work.
like a fire break or something?
No, it wasn't like that. I was trying to put a fence. In through property.
Oh, for that, to divide that
Yeah.
5 acres off?
Right.
I see.
So I had been thinking about that before. And that was actually was a plan.
Uh-huh.
And, so anyway, I started doing that. Very fine. That's what happened. I mean,
Yeah.
it's weird. I mean, it's just. It happened.
Yeah. No warning, and that, well, that's the way strokes are. There is no warning, really. Like a heart attack,
Right.
sometimes you get warnings, and if you don't heed them, then you get the widowmaker, but.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Well,
yeah, strokes are, they just,
sneak up on you.
yeah,
I think, you know, it's. You know, so many. As I was doing.
Mhm.
I have met so many people. That, yeah. Chose it. So much.
mhm,
In fact, I'm the oldest person. in my group.
Really? How old are you? If you don't mind?
67.
It's the same as me. 67, I'll be 68 in December. Yeah, a little older than.
Yeah.
A
little bit. But, again,
It's gotten younger. I've seen reports. I've seen stories that strokes are happening in younger people. Don't scare me.
doing the best. But she. Everybody. You know, 3 programs. Well, there's one guy. That did 82.
Uh-huh.
So you only have to think.
They should have done them. They should have done their homework before they made a decision. Like this. Right? So did you see the top? That we left? Oh, about 2 minutes ago. Yeah.
7:06. Let's go with 7:06.
We are back from the executive session. Time is 10 minutes after 7. And so does anybody on the council have any motion to make on this?
That's a balance.
Okay,
First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for being here tonight. I really appreciate it. I'd like to file a motion to table item 4A to allow additional time for further research for this very, very important matter that could affect us for generations to come.
we have a
Oh, pardon me. And I'd also like to have a full council present when we make this decision. We have an absent council member this evening.
any discussion? All in favor? That passes by unanimously. So, thank you. Item 4B. Consider and take appropriate.
Oh.
You got a phone on, your phone on.
That's the next one. Is it on? What's that? Try it again. I think it's a little time.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Thank you.
Consider and take
I'm
appropriate.
glad you're feeling much better.
It's so nice to see you, Keith.
You're good.
They waited, and then they left.
Consider and take appropriate action on a request to approve a contract with BK Drilling to drill a new well and cap the old well at 536 Country Lane. And the reason this is on the agenda is because BK was unable to secure a performance bond. We did contact our insurance company. They don't do performance bonds. And I will turn it over to Don to brief us because we had a couple of conversations with BK Insurance.
Thank you, Mayor. I hope everybody can hear me okay. So we've made, Mayor Davis and I have made, held 2 conversations with Greg Sific, who's with BK Drilling. He's in their upper management. He manages all the field activities. And as the mayor reported, Greg went through management and the owner of the company. They don't do performance bonds. So we've had several conversations. We reached out with them and basically discussed, the project is pretty straightforward as far as drilling. It's an Edwards well. Anything could go wrong in the Edwards aquifer, like losing circulation with the mud and the drilling rig and so forth with the aquifer, but they eventually get developed and pushed through. So the critical path for a drilling company is that once they receive a contract like we have with that would be with the city of Hays, is that there's going to be some out-of-pocket costs that they have. Like, for instance, bringing a frac tank in, they will go ahead and order the pump and motor. They're all the other parts that are associated with the project, cause slight supply chain issues, but all things kind of get rolled in them, and they're trying to get it all ordered in place. So the conversation we've had with the mayor and Greg and myself this morning is, and I did visit with Greg Mayor after that conversation, and his management's okay, that what their request is, instead of 50% down up front with signing of the contract, they would go with 25% down, and they would commit to the city that once the frac tank, which is the main piece of equipment that's needed as far as the drilling operation, because we don't want any of the drilling fluids to run off the site and to be handled. We wanted to handle it in a frac tank and to be hauled off by wastewater transport under the contract they have with them. But they would start the drilling process, have the rig on site within 2 weeks after the frac tank is delivered. And that was sort of a milestone that we had talked about. So that is their proposal. They just can't produce a performance bond on the project, and management's unwilling to do that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. I have a question for Josh. Josh, what's your recommendation if we cannot have a performance bond? This is a sole bid item. We didn't have any other bidders. We desperately want to get this done. We've been waiting years to get this second well in. Country Lane well number 3. I guess it's the third well. What do you recommend?
Well, this is the first I've heard about the corresponding issue.
We requested at the last meeting, Tony requested that we have a performance bond. The value of the contract is about $140,000.
Yeah.
But only because of the 50% down and the magnitude of the project and the heavy equipment and all of these other things, and you want a performance bond.
Sure.
I always feel better having insurance on any project.
It's better to have insurance, that's correct. I don't want to put Don on the spot, but I would like to know what is customary with well drilling. So I'm not as familiar with customary practice for well drillers.
Don, what is customary for well drillers?
For well drillers on all the, I'm sorry,
Why can't they
Councilman,
provide a performance
apologize.
bond? Why are they unable to provide a performance bond? If they're a business, do they have a certificate of insurance that we can have also? Proof of insurance?
Right. So drilling companies, I've been associated with a number of drilling companies over the years, and drillers don't typically provide performance or payment bonds in their contracts because of the size of the job and because of the cost that's associated with them, especially since COVID. Bonds have gone up dramatically in cost. So there is some risk, okay, from the city standpoint. Bee Caves has, I think, the financial capability to finish this job and do it in a very professional manner. So, but again, there's going to be a little risk with having a bond to pull, but we can withhold some funding to them if the project doesn't go well, or if there's some hiccup in the project on the performance of it that would, hopefully doesn't rise to legal. But I'm not aware of any major hurdles on drilling an Edwards well, Edwards Aquifer well in the location that we have.
Or what if, for example, it's $140,000 project? It's a small amount of money for them. It's relatively small for us considering. Should they provide a certificate of insurance for us so that we know they're insured if something were to go wrong while they're on the city premises?
I don't know if that is customary. They probably
It's
do.
not
have
customary,
insurance.
but what if they like squash when we get on the way?
We've asked them for insurance.
Did they provide it?
Yeah. Have they sent that to you yet, the certificate?
Yeah, I'm looking right now at the emails, and I have an email date today at 5:49 p.m.
For the meeting.
And attached to it is their W-9. And that's it. I got their W-9. Greg I understood from Greg that he was going to send over their workman's comp policy, but it's not attached to the email I received from them.
Policies, not.
Do they have a like general liability policy?
549 email. Do you have one, sir?
I've requested that from them, but I haven't received it yet. General liability and workman's comp policy.
Yeah, I mean, the
That only
recourse,
covers their own employees.
the recourse for the city is if they cause damage to the city's property, we need to sue them. It's more attractive to have an insurance policy or a bond, because that's a pool of money is there. But in general, if they damage the city, and its property, then that's the recourse.
Well, what happens if somebody's injured drilling the well? And that,
Either their own or someone in the city.
Someone
They
like
work
a
at
city
the well.
employee, or
one of their,
that they may be facing a lawsuit by their employee, or they'll make a workers' comp claim.
we're not in any danger.
No, I think the danger is more if they damage the city's property, cause damage, cause an unsafe condition, damage the water well itself, and we have to spend a bunch of money to replace it, repair it. Then we may have to consider litigation against them.
My opinion is I think we should proceed with this. I think, just, we don't proceed with BKs and we're at square one and who knows.
Right.
And we'll get another
One, right?
person, just to let me finish.
That's fine.
And, I think that Don has committed to me, and I think he will to the council, that he's gonna keep close watch on this project. Make sure that everything is being done in a proper way and that he does have a positive history with BK. However, I do wanna, Don did get a hold of Better Business Bureau report, and there was one really negative person on here. So you might want to read that.
Oh.
I'm still in favor.
Copy, good?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, I gave you a copy.
Yes.
So I do, if you all want to get going on it, you need to get going.
What's your recommendation, Judge?
What's,
Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Don, can you hear me?
Yes,
Don?
sir.
When-
Yes, sir.
When they invoice, they're gonna invoice us once a month, or what's the invoice pattern? And you say we're gonna withhold a percentage of the invoice? Is that written in the contract? A
We
percentage?
could put that into the contract as far as withholding,
Yeah.
maybe 10% or 15% of what's typically done on construction type contracts.
Okay, what would-
Withhold it to the end.
what would you recommend?
I'd recommend it's typical for construction contractors, like a 10% retainage
On this invoice submitted, right?
on issues and endorsement. That's correct. Yes, sir.
And it's accumulated to the end, at the end, we pay the retainage.
That's correct.
Okay, I like that idea with that. I would favor going with that.
Did you have something else to say? Okay.
This review, Don, and it was 2023, a year ago. The customer says that they had a problem. The company asked them for additional funds to fix it. Then when they tried to get a hold of them, they were unavailable. The account is no service. So they pretty much just left the customer hanging. Have you seen this
Well,
review?
the way I read this, there were two comments on Better Business Bureau. One is from a customer. Apparently the well was drilled 4 years ago from the date. I guess it's September 19 or 23 is the date of the complaint. But they lost pressure at their house. I think B Caves came out, did some adjustments to it, and that lasted a little while, and then the pressure was lost again. I don't know how that was included in the field with B Caves drilling. There is another comment, I hope it printed off, it was from a person who looked like he purchased a tank and associated facilities from B Cave Drilling, but he was quite happy with them. But having been in business for 44 years, if that's
Right,
the only
some of
two,
that one.
that's a pretty good record.
Of course, this is a very negative review, but we heard one side of the story.
Right.
And that's, you know, a individual versus drilling for a city government.
So you know them well, right, Tom?
And can I
I'm sorry.
I do know them well. I've been behind the rigs on several projects. My main concern is they want to drillers try to make whole as opposed to making a well. So you want to be sure they go slow enough and we're evaluating what's happening and during the drilling process. So that goes for all drillers. They want to get on site, they want to get it done, but then you got to make sure they go slow enough, and we're realizing what the formation is telling us as it's coming out of the hole.
Any other comments? Anybody like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the contract with stipulation of that, what's it, 25%? The one deposit or down and 10% withholding on each one invoice.
Don, didn't they say they wouldn't take 20%? They held fast to 50%?
No, he said they would take 25 because they didn't have the bond.
Let him speak, because that's what he told me.
I could call Greg right now and find out and confirm one way or the other.
I think that's what you told me.
No, in our notes, he just said that they would do 25% down on blue of not having the.
I understand, but
Let-
I'll talk with him shortly.
Let me confirm it with Greg right now, if I can get a hold of him.
And sir, can you forward us a copy of their insurance? I don't have it in my inbox.
The workers' comp.
You said you received it at.
It's just-
5:00?
He didn't.
They only sent their W-9, they didn't submit their workman's compensation policy. Stand by.
Working by December. Could be working
Yeah.
by December.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail.
Of course. Thank you.
Yeah, well, this is,
7:30.
7:30 at night, he's calling.
Yeah, it can be gone.
Yeah.
Anyways, you've made a motion. Did you finish your motion?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Well, we don't know whether they're gonna allow the 25%. And that's
No,
right.
you made a motion. You
Pending
made
the
a motion.
25%.
Deposit 10% withholding.
Right, but
Withholding retained.
we seem to have two different sources of information. He said 25%, but you said that was not correct. I think his was contingent on the 25%.
I understand.
He didn't
I
confirm.
understand. I would. You want to. Oh, it's his fault.
He didn't answer, did he?
He starts in.
Well, if for some reason I can't pull up his number right now.
It's in the bid.
Here we go. I'm getting closer, I think.
Joshua, what are your recommendations?
I think you could go forward with the contract, approve the number that you want. And if that's not acceptable, you gave, come back and reconsider it.
Well, the contract that we had to draft last time, all we would need to do is amend the deposit amount. We didn't execute the contract, right?
We didn't execute.
Right, so all we would need to do is amend
Because
the
I was.
deposit.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up.
Let's go through
Greg,
this.
good evening, Don Ross Schuber, 512-413-9300. Thank you, sir.
Discuss with ourselves or discuss with the whole council.
I did call and got his voicemail. And I called him on his cell phone.
Okay. What is it you want to tell me and the council?
That if we accept today, are we also going to add in motion to execute the Beacon Village contract with King County? As part of that, do we need to add that to the motion? Yes, we have the three to execute.
Yeah, so everything works out.
I think.
I can
I
adjust.
think that was part of his motion.
My motion is to accept the contract with a restriction of 25% down and 10% retainage on each invoice.
And you seconded.
I did. We're good to go.
And
All in favor? Now, what am I gonna do if they say, no, we won't accept 25%, we want 50% there?
Two options. You can make a motion tonight as well. No, I'd recommend you just wait. Let it come back to you. He says that
That's another meeting.
if they say they won't do it, then
That will delay us until mid-November.
Yeah.
How about if we just file another one?
Well-
Only 2 weeks, I mean.
I think if you do that, then
Three.
Oh,
you're not.
12 and then 15 days.
you go backwards, you know. You don't want to accept,
You can not teach it 25% if you make a motion that you also accept it.
Correct.
yeah, I don't want to accept it.
Lydia, can I see your verbiage on yours?
Well, you tied my hand
Right,
at 25%,
right.
and if we don't, then.
Well, I
We
say,
had- Let me finish.
go ahead.
We had a special meeting last week specifically on this issue. Kind of milestone popped up. And, and you put on the performance bond.
Right.
So we couldn't do that. So we have to consider it this time. And now you've said 25%.
No, I didn't say 25%.
No, your motion
You
said
said
25%. The
right.
council has spoken.
Right.
And so now if they don't accept that, then, I'm not gonna call another special meeting to do the 50%, because, but, we've been clamoring, we need this well, and we need.
I look at
it done.
I look at it this way.
And you've tied my hand to it, because Don, I distinctly remember you telling me that they said no to the 25%, that they was 50%.
That's correct,
And
Mayor.
you-
I'm sorry. That is correct.
Yeah, you told the council tonight that they accepted 25%.
No, I misspoke there.
Right, we said, Don, that because they could not provide the performance bond, they would be willing to do 25% down. That's what you mentioned to the council, so that decision was made based on that statement that you provided.
Right, and I was incorrect on that statement.
So
I
it's not true
apologize.
that if they can't do the performance bond, they're not offering to reduce the down payment or anything?
You been bargaining on that?
There's nothing?
Well, I think they said no to 50% because they have. I think they said no to you're right, to the 25, thank you. They said no to the 25% because I think they have so much upfront costs
Yes.
to get started. Would that be correct, Don?
That'd be correct. Yes, sir.
So,
Then what do you
Glad-
You can
recommend?
take an amended
but,
motion. You can take another motion if you wish.
okay.
Let me, can I ask that a question before we take a motion? Don, when you discuss 50 or 25%, what was in between those two numbers?
It was either 25 or 50% was discussed. It wasn't like a 35% or 40%. Just
No,
one or the other.
Where did the 25 come up in the discussion?
it was me that came up.
Oh, you came up with it. It was your.
Yours,
turn.
your cut.
You did it, Mayor Harvey. You did this, sir. So since Mayor Harvey did it.
No,
They're not going to.
They reduced to 25 because they need the frac
They
tank.
are.
Well, I was trying to be the sharp negotiator.
Well.
yeah.
So does anybody on the council like to make it.
Okay.
New motion?
Would you like to amend your original motion?
Turn.
No,
Yeah.
we're still on.
There.
Stop. We're still on 4B.
Well,
Would you like to-
the motion has been made and passed, so it can't be amended.
It'd be a new motion.
It'd be a new motion.
To,
So how do you get rid of the motion we just?
Let's do a new one. I'd like to file a
I
motion.
think
to
you do a motion to, I guess.
Well, I'll be-
retract the previous.
I'll be generous. I'll make a motion to retract my previous motion and have, deduct, 10% of retained for every invoices and seek a less percentage down, period. See what they offer, 10%, 5%.
That's going into negotiation. We already have that
motion.
already have the
So we
contract.
we-
Accept the contract, or we don't get started and don't finish the well by December. So we either go forward, because our attorney has recommended it, Don says he doesn't keep a close eye on it. So we need a new motion that says, let's enter into contract and let's get this well built by December. And Don, keep a close eye on him.
Go ahead, you make the motion. No, not make that
What was
motion.
your original?
No,
I mean, the difference between 25 and 50 is about $35,000, so
Right.
it's not.
Now, is there a retainage clause on this contract, Don? There's no retainage clause. I didn't see one.
There's no, we can require a retainage of 10 or whatever percent the council wants. And we just negotiated with B Caves Drilling.
And we can't execute and we can't get started until we get the can. Is that correct?
Well, if they don't have insurance, I mean, we gotta have some retainage.
So
Well, at the bottom of the, we're still gonna have that 50% in our hand. We're gonna give them 50
Right,
and
50.
hold 50. We're still gonna hold 50, 75,000.
Don, is it common practice to have withholding on drilling of wells on progress?
it's not a common practice on drilling the wells that I have seen. It's a common practice in any sort of construction contract that I have been involved with, the withholding 10%.
I would ask the council to allow us to request 10% holding, but that you allow us to make a good business decision to proceed with the contract, whether we succeed with the 10% holding or not. So that you authorize me to execute the contract that we talked about last week without the performance bond and with the 50% holding. That's my request.
Is that your legal opinion?
Yeah, I mean, you can make a motion directing your city staff, your engineer, your mayor to enter into a contract.
Give me an appetite.
With a 50% down payment and, you know, a 10, and to request a 10% retainage, but authorizing the city to enter into a contract. Either way.
Yours.
I already made a motion.
Go ahead. It's yours.
I make a motion to accept the contract with a 10% withholding and retainage on each invoice.
But there has to be latitude for the mayor to enter.
And the mayor can initiate the contract.
But you're tying my hands again because they may say no. And then I won't be able to execute a contract.
If they say no, Mayor, we'll bring it back to that the November
We
meeting.
can't do that.
Yeah.
We can't delay that.
And you're
We're going into stage 3 drop.
Oh, wow.
you
I just don't feel-
gotta give your mayor and our city engineer some latitude to get this contract done.
There's
And
other
if
latitude for-
if you bring up new things like this 10%, we didn't talk about that last meeting. If you bring it up and that has to be part of it, you know, then you're just,
What do you think, Don? Will they accept 10%?
I have no idea.
We just need to work with what we've got right now, I think.
Our attorney has advised us that it's okay to enter into contract, recommends that we do.
and 10% over the whole contract is only $14,000. So it's not like
we're not gonna solve any of our problems with 14 grand.
Yeah.
If anything goes wrong,
Anything goes wrong, it's gonna be more.
not, could be $1 million.
Okay,
Please give us the latitude to get this contract in.
File a new motion.
I follow a new motion, directing the mayor to sign the contract as this.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Thank you. Now we can adjourn.
You can-
Thank you.
Thank you, council.
Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
So,
You know,
I didn't know about the 50%, 25% earlier.
I mean, it is, it is frustrating, but, it's good to